Rumors circulate in the NBA, the Warriors could be a destination for Chris Paul. Welcome to our Golden State Warriors news channel. Subscribe now to stay up to date with the latest updates from the best club in the world. Now that you have registered, let's get to the updates. Both the Golden State Warriors and the Phoenix Suns were eliminated from the playoffs earlier than desired. With changes in the management of both organizations, quick changes have become inevitable in their respective rosters. Earlier this week, Phoenix decided to waive 38-year-old point guard Chris Paul after he missed the last 4 games of the conference semifinals series against the Denver Nuggets due to a groin injury. Immediately after his release, rumors started circulating that Paul is being considered by the Warriors, which raised suspicions within the NBA community. The Warriors are currently projected to be nearly $50 million above the $162 million luxury tax threshold for the upcoming season. With Jordan Poole's contract extension kicking in next year, Draymond Green's player option in the summer, and Klay Thompson entering the final year of his contract, the team is already facing significant challenges in relation to the salary cap. Additionally, the new collective bargaining agreement prevents teams above the luxury tax threshold from using the taxpayer mid-level exception. This means that players like Donte DiVincenzo wouldn't be on the roster if this rule was in effect last year. So, how would they fit Paul financially? Hypothetically, signing Paul wouldn't be as expensive as one might think. Phoenix waived Paul before the June 28 deadline, which means that only about $15 million of his $30 million contract is guaranteed. Since Paul will already receive that money next year, it seems that he would be willing to sign for a lower amount to have a chance at competing for his first championship. Paul is eligible for the veteran's minimum salary of $2.72 million, but he is likely to seek more, aiming for around $10 million in the market. This means they could sign him for a value close to the minimum with minimal roster moves, but Paul will likely seek a more lucrative contract. Golden State would have to accept that they are committed to making the most of Stephen Curry's prime and what remains with their big three if Paul becomes a viable option for them. This would mean that young players on the team, such as Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, and Poole, would be impacted. With a salary of nearly $28 million next year, Paul's contract was easily justifiable after winning the title last year but became difficult to explain after his performance in this year's playoffs. His altercation with Green before the season affected the team's chemistry, and he struggled against the Lakers. Poole, along with Kuminga and even DiVincenzo, expressed dissatisfaction with their roles during the playoffs, further harming the locker room environment. Curry is the undisputed star of the team and the starting point guard, so swallowing pride would be necessary for Paul to join the roster, especially considering their history of rivalry. If Paul is able to do that, he could provide a more solid second unit when Curry is off the court. The Warriors' offensive rating dropped to 18.5 when Curry was on the bench during the playoffs. Having Chris Paul as a reserve option could solve this problem for the Golden State. Owner Joe Lacob will first need to secure a replacement for former general manager Bob Myers. Lacob stated that Mike Dunleavy and Kirk Lacob will have more prominent roles in the front office. They will have a challenging task ahead from the start if the rumors about Paul to the Warriors are true. Every day, he feels the tension of not having won a championship despite playing 18 years in the NBA. Signing with the Warriors and accepting a new role is one way for him to pursue that achievement. At his age, Paul may no longer have the necessary stability to lead a team to a title, but a reduced role could be beneficial. Paul played only 59 games in the regular season, in addition to being sidelined in the playoffs. Fewer minutes per night would reduce the wear and tear on his body and allow him to shine in the most crucial moments. It could even prolong his career. Paul is not yet in decline, but his time may be running out soon. The window to win a championship is closing. A crucial decision lies ahead of him, and he needs to choose where he believes he has the best opportunity. Paul allegedly dreamed of playing for the Lakers, but there he would need a lot of minutes, and injuries are already a concern for that team. While the idea of Paul joining the Warriors may seem absurd, it is more feasible than it appears at first glance. With salary cap issues, the restrictions of the new collective bargaining agreement, and the rivalry between Curry and Paul, it is reasonable to think that it won't happen. However, we have seen Lacob and the Warriors front office overcome obstacles before. Whenever they seem to be at a disadvantage, they find a way to strengthen the team. It wouldn't be surprising if they do it again. A definitive answer will only come when free agency begins, but both parties are committed to winning, and it is certainly a possibility. We look forward to seeing what the point guard will do this summer.